Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the learning of Everyday English Grammar. Today we are going to take up a grammar topic again, and this grammar topic is comparison. It is chapter number 11 in your Everyday English Grammar book. So let us start with the topic comparison. What are adjectives? Before we start with adjectives, let us recap what a noun is. A noun is a naming word. It is the name of a person, place, animal, or thing. What is a pronoun? A pronoun is a word used in place of a noun. What is a singular noun? A singular noun names one noun. What is a plural noun? A plural noun names more than one noun. After recapping these things, let's know what are adjectives. Adjectives are words that describe nouns and pronouns. Adjectives remain same for singular and plural nouns or pronouns. An adjective may come before a noun or pronoun or latter in a sentence. For example, he is an old man. In this sentence, the adjective comes before a noun. He is an old man. What kind of a man is he? He is old. So, the describing word for the noun man is old. Old is an adjective in the sentence. Second example, the man is old. In this sentence, the adjective is latter in a sentence. For example, the man is old. Man is the noun, and what kind of man is he? An old man. It describes the man. So, old is the adjective which comes in the later part of the sentence. Let's move ahead. Let's quickly recap adjectives again. In its simplest forms, adjectives, they describe a noun or a pronoun. The nouns and the pronouns are described in the form of quality, quantity, belonging, and pointing out something very specific. These adjectives, they tell us about the kind of nouns and pronouns, the number of nouns and pronouns, the belonging of these nouns and pronouns, as well as the specific noun or a pronoun. So, adjectives help us to understand a noun and a pronoun in a better way. It also enhances a sentence. It describes a sentence and a noun in a proper way. After we have learned what are adjectives, we now move on to what are the degrees of comparison. The chapter is about degrees of comparison. We use adjectives to compare two or more things, people or animals. Which adjective to use depends upon the kind of comparison we make. So usually we use adjectives either single or we use them to compare two or more things. Now, when we compare it with two or more things, they are known as degrees of comparison. So, let's see the example. The box is large. Adjectives, as you have already learned, they describe a noun. So in this sentence, we have the word box as noun and the box is described to be large. So the word large is a positive adjective because we have only one adjective and only one noun. The noun box is not compared with another box or with something else in this sentence. So the adjective large remains the same. In the next example, my box is larger than yours. In this sentence, we have two pronouns. The first pronoun is my and the second pronoun is yours, which means that I have to use a degree of comparison, an adjective which describes and compares my box with yours. So, I have used a comparative adjective in the sentence which is larger. And as the rule says, I have added than, T-H-A-N. So, in sentence number 2, I have compared two things, my box with your box. In sentence number 3, this is the largest of the 4 boxes. In this sentence, I have compared one box with other 4 boxes of the same type or different type. So, I have 4 boxes, so the quantity is 4 and my noun is boxes. Now because I am comparing one box with the other 4 boxes, which is like more than one thing, I have used my superlative degree, which is largest. Largest is a comparison made between one box with the other 4 boxes, which is more than one. So the largest becomes the superlative adjective. So these are the 3 examples of positive degree, comparative degree and superlative degree. So there are 3 degrees of comparison in adjectives: positive, comparative and superlative. And there are some rules to follow for it. A positive degree of comparison is used when no comparison is done. We do not have to compare anything. The second degree of comparison is comparative. We use a comparative degree when it compares two people, animal or thing, which is a noun. In the comparative degree of adjective, we add R or ER to the word. And we add more before the adjective. We also use than after the adjective. The third degree of comparison is superlative. We use superlative degree of comparison when it compares more than two people, places, animals or things. We add st or est to the adjective. And we use most before the adjective. And the also before the adjective. For example, Arjun is a young boy. Young is a positive adjective. In this sentence, we are not comparing Arjun with anyone. Sentence number 2. Arjun is younger than Rohan. We are comparing Arjun with Rohan. So, we have added er to the adjective and than after the adjective. Younger than. Sentence number 3. Arjun is the youngest of the 3 boys. I am comparing Arjun with the other 3 boys. So, the comparison is more than 2 people. So, I have added the before the adjective. Youngest, I added est to my adjective. If I am not able to convert the adjective by adding st or est, I use the word most before it. But if my word is able to convert into st or est, then I do not use the word most. So these were the 3 degrees of comparison. Now, after we have learned about the rules of positive, comparative and superlative adjectives, let us see each in detail. The first rule says that if I add in my adjective er or est at the end of the word, so to a positive adjective, if I want to compare it, I need to add er to the comparative degree and est to the superlative degree, which means I take my first example, which is tall. Now tall is a simple positive adjective. It can describe anything, a tall pencil, a tall girl, a tall book, anything. So tall is a simple positive adjective. Now if I have to change it into the comparative degree, I use taller. Now when I use the word taller, if you can observe, as per the first rule, I have added er to the word tall. So it becomes taller. Okay, and if I have to convert it into a superlative degree, I have added est to the word, which makes it tallest. Est. Tallest superlative means I am comparing one object with more than one things, which means if I am comparing a tall pencil with another 3 pencils, I use the word tallest. Okay, I move on to the second rule. The second rule says that we double the last letter and add er or est. Now in few adjective words, we double the last letter and then we added er or est. Let's look at the example. I take the adjective big. Now big is a very simple adjective. A big elephant, a big box, a big pencil, okay, a big table. So a big word is a simple positive adjective. If I want to convert it into comparative, I add er. But before adding er, I have doubled the last letter, which means my spelling now becomes bigger, bigger. That is the second rule of adjective of comparison, which makes it to be a comparative degree. If I want to change it into the superlative form, I add biggest, biggest, biggest. Okay, let's move on to the third rule. The third rule says that if an adjective word ends with y, we drop the word y and add ier or iest to it. Let's take a word which is easy. Easy is a very simple descriptive adjective word. Okay, it's an easy paper, it's an easy sum, It's an easy road to remember. So easy is a very simple word. Now this word easy, it ends with Y. So the rule says that I have to remove Y, and if I want to make it into a comparative degree, which means if I want to compare it between two things or two people or two animals, I add IER to it, which makes it easier. Okay, and if I have to compare it in a larger group, amongst the larger group of either animals or people or places or things, then I remove Y and I add IEST, which makes it easiest. So it is easy, which is a positive degree, easier, which is a comparative degree, and easiest, which is a superlative degree. So these are the first three rules of the adjectives. This will help you learn how to change the words from positive, comparative, and superlative, how the spellings change. But each adjective word will have its own rule of changing. Okay, let's move on to the other three rules of adjectives. The fourth one is that if it ends with E, we add R or ST. So if supposing the word ends with large, that is GE, large is a positive degree, we add R to it. Okay, which makes it comparative, that is large, larger, and then we make it superlative by adding ST to it, which is largest. A large room, a large gathering, a large box. Okay, so large, larger, and largest. So we have added R and ST to comparative and superlative degrees respectively. Let's move on to the fifth rule. Now, the fifth rule says that we add more or most with some adjectives to form comparative and superlative forms. Now, not all the words of adjectives, they change the word, the spellings, or we keep on adding something. But certain words and adjectives, they remain the same, that is, they remain positive. It is just that we add a word before it, like more or most. For example, I take the word cheerful. Now, in this word cheerful, cheer itself is a word which has a suffix to it, which is full, so it becomes cheerful. So I am not adding R or ST or IER or IEST or ER or EST. But now I'm going to add more cheerful and most cheerful. Now, how do you know when to use what? It is simple. The rule is simple, that how do you know these things is by reading. So you need to read and come across such words which can be converted and which cannot be converted. You can use your dictionaries for the same, which will help you. Okay. So cheer is a positive adjective. If I want to make it a comparative one, a comparative degree, I write more cheerful. And if I have to make it into a superlative degree, I write most cheerful. And now we move on to the last rule. The last rule says that some degrees of comparison are different from their original form. It means they do not change. Neither the spelling changes nor you add anything, but the spelling completely changes. The spelling does not change by adding anything, but the spelling itself completely changes, which means good. A good book, a good person, a good meal. Okay, good is a positive degree. The superlative is better. The spelling is changed by not adding anything to it. That's a comparative one. Okay, and the superlative becomes best. Again, not adding anything, just the spelling of the word completely changes. So good, better, best. Good is positive, better is comparative, and best is superlative. So these are the 6 rules of adjective, that is degrees of comparison. So We have learnt about adjectives. We recapped about adjectives, nouns and pronouns, and then we moved on to comparison. So you can take your Everyday English Grammar and Composition textbook, and in this textbook you can move on to the contents page. That is the contents page. We have done almost, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, the first 7 chapters, and then we have taken the 10th one, that is adjective, and now we are going to take comparison. Okay, so chapter number 11 is comparison, and it is there on page number 48. So adjectives is the chapter specifically on adjectives, that is describing words, and then when you actually prolong the topic, when you move a little further to the topic, one more level up, it comes comparison. So degrees of comparison is a part of the chapter of adjectives, but it is divided into 2 chapters. So in comparison we learned 3 degrees of comparison: positive, comparative and superlative. Okay, so for your practice work, you saw the contents page, so you can move on to the chapter, that is comparison, and you need to solve the exercises A, B, C and D in your grammar textbook itself, which is there on page number 48, 49 and 50. Okay, so in this video, you have learned about adjectives. We recapped about adjectives, we recapped about nouns and pronouns, and we also learned when you're supposed to use the adjective, where, in which place in a sentence you can use an adjective, and we moved on to comparisons. We learned that there are 3 types of comparisons and that when to use what. Okay, so thank you for watching this video. Make sure you solve the exercises A, B, C and D. This video was the explanation of comparison chapter. The next video is going to be the discussion of the exercises that you have solved. You can subscribe to the channel on YouTube and follow the playlist. So keep learning. Thank you.